And welcome inside to another edition of Alex Garrett Podcasting. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Later today, we'll have Mr. Frank Morano on the pod. We recorded it, but I'll just put it on after his morning show with Joe Piscopo is done, so bear with me on that. But today is a very interesting day. Last night I ended up investing in SoundCloud because I do want to get my content out there a little more, and hopefully Mike Myers does join us soon. A little more. And we'll have to see how that goes. And I've revamped that page, called it Alex Garrett Podcasting, so you might want to check it out on SoundCloud now as well. But in the last 24 hours, I was finding out that a Abraham Lincoln statue in Boston is now possibly up for being torn down in the city area there, as it was vandalized again last week. Now there are calls to remove it. Let's go to WCVB reporting on this statue. Just a minute, they have a commercial here, so just hang on. Well, in fact, you know what? Mike Myers is here, so let's not play the audio. Good morning, Michael. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, you know what? I know why I can't hear you. There we go. Hey, bud.
How's it going, eh?
I am feeling pretty revved up, and I know you like having... you don't like talking politics this early in the morning, but I'm all of a sudden... What happened?
Don't tell me what I do and don't like. You know, this is why we have the problem we have today. What is it with people? Just kidding.
But I did send you this thing with the Abraham Lincoln. I don't know if you got a chance to see it.
I did.
And there's two things of it, right? The first thing is, why would they make a man kneel in front of him? Why would they actually put that kind of statue? That's kind of interesting to me, that he's kneeling in front of Lincoln. It is kind of interesting. Secondly, I don't want it turned down because Lincoln meant the best for the slaves. He wanted them freed, actually.
And, you know, I look at that differently. I look at that as a real servant hey, wait a minute.
Yes.
Good enough for Jesus? Jesus washed the feet of the disciples. They were like, you're not going to do that to me. Well, if I don't wash your feet, you don't have nothing. You don't have any part of me if I can't. So you see, it's how we look at these things.
Well, do you fault the guy that, says he was hurting every time he saw it? I don't know. I don't think anybody else felt that. But he seems to have the guy that made the petition for this.
Do I fault him? This is interesting because somebody sent out something about, it was Ben Carson had said that he believes that eventually Trump will get it. He will understand why there's such a big issue going on with, the whole... Now, Black Lives Matter is I think that movement's a bit different than the other one with what, the travesty that happened in Minneapolis. But get this.
Yes.
This made a lot of sense to me last night. Okay, so I do believe there'll come a point where we'll understand. But just because we understand doesn't mean that we're in agreement. Now, I'm not saying... You see, even saying that is going to get me in trouble. I'm going to have a black guy in my house on Thursday morning at 7 o'clock.
Here's the thing, Michael. I don't think we can ever truly understand. That's the whole point of this to me, is that we can't truly know what they go through.
That's true, but you just got done telling me that can you fault this guy for the way he felt about when he sees the statue? So you can kind of, sort of. So this is the kind of wishy-washy kind of things that just start to drive me crazy.
So what would your resolve be? What would you tell the mayor of Boston right now? Because I would just say, no, you don't want to know what I want to say, so I'm not going to say it. Maybe we make someone stand upright. I don't know. Just don't take down Lincoln. That's how I see it.
I don't know. I guess I would have to think about that. Did this thing just reboot?
No. You got me.
Okay.
I got you.
Okay. I guess I would have to think about that before giving an immediate response, because not everything is
Cut
what
and
it
dry.
seems.
Yeah. Hey, it's been a couple of days since I last talked with you. I didn't wake my ass up on Sunday, and then yesterday you were doing your own thing. And how you feeling today?
I actually have a little bit of a hangover.
Oh, okay.
I really don't want to let that out, but I guess I already did. You know what's freaky?
Yeah, tell me.
My son and I went fishing the other day, and he said, "Dad, your videos are starting to get around a little bit." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, that one you did the other morning, you had like 187 views." And I said, "No, I didn't. There's like 5 or 6 people." I went back and looked. It was like 200 and something. I was like, I got to be careful what I say.
Hey, or do you? I mean, maybe you're just meant to say what you really feel, and that's going to be what your call is now. What are you doing?
I've got a green eraser, and I'm playing green screen.
What happened to your amazing studio? It disappeared on us here.
It's all an illusion. There's so many things going on right now that are an illusion. And I think we are becoming delusional by buying into the illusion, and it's making me sad.
We are becoming numb to it. Like it is something that people are just okay with now, and that's kind of freaky to me. It's like, well, as Ed Delgado posted yesterday, you saw that, right? He says, the people who are going to consent to another lockdown are the ones who wear masks or something to that effect. I thought that was an interesting post to share that he did.
It's making me more aware of a lot of stuff, but I'm not. Oh my goodness! Reminds me of a song. I will not bow down. You see, and somebody could take that and misconstrue it, and that's their problem. I mean, that's their problem. And I posted something on the community Facebook. No, the Uncensored.
Oh, okay.
And it was kind of a Boone Uncensored page, and it might have been something you sent me. It was a bunch of no, Bob Huber sent it to me.
Okay.
And it was a bunch of what's his name? Something Friedman. Who's the actor?
Morgan Freeman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard something about that now.
And he was doing an interview with somebody, and this guy said, "So how do we get rid of this whole racism thing?" And Morgan Freeman said, "Well, first of all, quit talking about it all the time."
Did you hear yesterday you did hear yesterday because you commented. I said we have to stop shining a light, and you actually said that too. We have to stop shining a light.
The light we need to shine is, I got a little light shining out, and not put a basket on that light like Jesus says. You don't try to light stuff up and then go put a coffee can over the light. That's not. But what is our light? What is it exposed to start with? How about our own hypocrisy? How about our own sin nature? How about our own? Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, no, go ahead with that. No, seriously, what are you thinking along those lines?
I'm thinking you spot it, you got it, and maybe it's a good idea just to tick a lock and take a look at oneself in light of. Why am I apologizing? In light of God's word. You want to compare yourself to the perfect one. Okay? Let's start there, and maybe all of us will just bring it down just a little bit.
Well, I don't think the rioters will ever bring it down, and that's the point, is that we have to...
I hope they do, and that's, if you don't think they ever will. And you might be right.
And that's why we have to completely ignore them, because and a friend of mine brought this up to me, why not just ignore them and they'll let it run its course? I mean, if we don't talk about them, maybe they won't do it.
But if you ignore the rioters as they are breaking the windows of business people who are just trying to make a living in this country that we like to call, we like to say, what, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Well, maybe we're not so brave if we just kowtow and go, oh, I just hope they don't break my window. I mean, justice needs to prevail. That's the bottom line. But not. I still don't understand the knee on the neck for 8 minutes or whatever.
8:46. I don't know.
8:46. Can anybody help me with that? Can you tell me why?
I also think there's some animosity between the two of them.
Yes.
From 17 years of knowing each other, it seems that there was that connection. So there's that. But I don't know. But the bigger problem, but that was a huge problem. But the other problem post, the killing, is that 4 million people tuned into the rioters. It's like, do 4 million people not have anything else to do?
Oh my gosh. So what you're saying is, yeah, I get it. It's like bloodthirsty. Let's watch, what was it, Daniel in the Lion's Den?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Let's go watch these people get. What is it about us that we?
I know, but I was ready to do play-by-play. We haven't had baseball on any kind of. I was ready to do play-by-play of it. Like,
no.
There he goes. He leaves Gucci. He's at the 20. He's at the 30. Oh, and he's bowled down there.
Wow. Yeah, something about a brick something house.
Oh, jeez. But
Oh, that is funny, and it's funny, but it's sad. But it is.
And that's what I told my folks. I said, I think these people are tuning in because there's nothing else to watch. So what else? What is there to watch? No sports, no football, no baseball. It's just people clashing. I mean, this is. It's just sad. It's terribly sad.
Now, what's interesting is this is kind of neat, and I like what you're doing. You are taking a tragic situation, and you're making light of it, but you're not making.
Well, let me be clear. I'm making light of the aftermath because the death itself is horrible, and we need to evaluate how that happened. But the aftermath of what. I don't know why. I just thought it was like cartoonish to watch these people walk out of stores with clothes. I mean, this wasn't. That's what you see on TV. That you don't see this in real life. I don't know. It just.
Yeah, it's like, so why are you here? Oh, I heard I needed some money. The end justifies the means. That's. Ooh, look at that. I got a glare. This is from this CD of this buddy of mine that he'll be here Thursday morning. Living life in the desert away from all of the mainstream for things that I never deserved by grace beyond understanding. You got a handful of pure gold. I've got my hands full of dry sand. You choose to sell out your own soul. I choose a life beyond this land. The end justifies the means. This guy, I'm really looking forward to this because he is somebody who, again, posted on a local Boone site that he has never. One thing he has noticed since all of this started is more people are saying hi to him.
You mentioned that, yeah.
We talked about this the other day.
Yep. But seriously, how you been? How's the last? Because I haven't talked to you in 2 days. So how's the last 2 days been for you?
Well, yesterday was a very early show because we had to take our little Chewini, little Athena.
I love dogs. I love animals.
I do too, but she got a bunch of her female parts removed. Yeah,
Why?
it makes me sad.
Older age, or what was the reason?
And then evidently she got her anal glands massaged. Sorry. Myers, you are sick. Golly, you're sick. But she won't stink as bad.
Oh, jeez. Has the coffee kicked in yet, or is this just you off without the coffee?
Don't I have a coffee? Not over coffee. I just happen to have a song up here this morning.
Oh, good.
Well, it's I really don't know what's going on. I'm glad that I'm getting a little bit of a sense of humor back because to answer your question, I've been kind of sort of depressed.
Which is weird because you have a free reign open over there, right? So you can see people. You don't have a reason to be shut in as we do here in New York, it seems like.
I really don't know why for sure that I've been kind of sort of feeling there's other stuff going on. There's little things here and there, but it really comes down to, and it sounds too cliche, but I need to keep my eyes on the prize. I need to run the race and not give up.
Favorite song one of the favorite songs is "Stay Strong" by the Newsboys, and they have that song about how get up, it's time to race. You can probably have it.
I don't think I do. Stay strong.
Yeah, but what you were saying is kind of their lyrics, that the race is not over yet, and there's a race to be won. I mean, this is what we're after. What we're racing after that, right? We want to get to the glory the best we can.
And what do you think of this? So I'm thinking about. I got this. I was going to do something with this big 4x8 foot plastic thingy sign for a guy that lost, and I'm going to put on there. I'm going to put the American flag, but not upside down like this one agitator. We got an agitator on the Boone Uncensored page. And
tase him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Don't tase him.
No, go ahead.
I said tase him. The agitator.
What?
I'm kidding.
Anyway, but he uses an upside down flag for his little Facebook picture.
I mean, he's really tough doing that, isn't he?
Tough?
He's just so tough. He thinks he's so tough with an upside down flag. I mean, this is what it comes down to for people.
I think he's a Chiweenie. No, that's a put down to Chiweenies. No, I've seen there. I just jumped. I just got into it and I didn't want to. But anyway, so what I was going to do is I'm going to put a flag. I got an extra flag. And speaking of flags, there's 3 or 4 kids tooling around on mopeds with the lead guy and a great big Trump flag on the back of his moped. Tooling through town. I love it. Anyway, so it's going to say underneath the flag or maybe above the flag. Above the flag. Is it, if I'm allowed to do that. Love God with all your guts and love your neighbor as yourself. And that isn't, I know that sounds too simple, doesn't it?
So you said love God with all your guts, right? You just said that.
Yeah.
With
your heart, mind, strength, and soul. That's the official verse. But guts to me, love him with all your bowels, everything that you have. Love God, and then love your neighbor as yourself. Take care of yourself and love your neighbor. Don't shove your neighbor. Don't throw bricks at him. Don't make fun of him.
And don't tase anybody. I was kidding. Don't tase anybody. Please do not.
No, I think you were.
What? You think I was spot on?
I think you were serious. No, I don't think you're spot on. I think you're serious. I think you're sick.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I don't know.
Let's get serious.
Because now, see, here's the thing with me. Now that when you say agitator, I'm thinking this guy is also like a agitator in Boone. He just riots and stuff. Maybe he doesn't, though. Maybe you just mean for that page he's an agitator.
He not only stirs the pot. Well, I don't know if he's selling it or not, so I'm not going to say anything.
Well, let's not go there then. So
I know him, and you know what? I think it might be a waste of time, but it might be interesting to sit down and
yes,
chat with him sometime. Have him on as a guest.
Yes, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Say, you know what? You're stirring up all this stuff on the page. Well, come on, let's talk. Let's not fight behind the keyboard. Let's actually talk about this on my podcast. You should say something like that and see what happens.
Wow, that's a gutsy move.
Hey, God with all your guts. This is what maybe you're called to do right now.
Oh yeah, thanks a lot, brother.
No, I'm serious though. There are people being put in positions to just speak us forward, and I think you are definitely one of them.
Speak us forward. Ooh, speak us forward. I like that.
I'm not that oratus. I think you make me feel like I'm more oratus or more. How do you say it?
I don't know. Probably oratus.
You make me sound like a better wordsmith than I feel like I am. I just say what.
Wordsmith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that brings up the term. I'm not going to use it. I was going to say masturbate, but I'm not going to say it.
What? I don't even know where that comes from, Michael.
Because the religious people they like to set Jesus up. They like to bait him into a place where he has to agree with them. And that made them master.
Oh. Hey, yeah. That's I don't even know.
It's his fault.
It's his fault. Hey, if he's planning on doing something incredible today.
Is he?
Yeah. According to the Washington Times, he's going to do a executive order specifically in regards to the police, in which he actually will bring in social workers to the departments to figure all this out with them. And
wow.
Some might say that's bowing. I think it's listening. I think if he's truly going to do something like this, that is listening to what is going on around us. And they say, oh, Trump's not paying attention. Well, he is paying attention. He's very much so paying attention to the room right now. And I think
you're right.
I think that's important to note, that he is paying attention. He knows what's going on in Seattle. He's not some lost person. He knows what's there. He went up to West Point and did an incredible... Well, okay. Some of it was incredible. Other stuff, sometimes I think he just talks to people as if they were his psychiatrist. You know, he just starts talking to them like he needs someone to talk to, and it's the media, you know?
Hello?
Mike, you should be his press secretary. I think you guys would get along well. Wow. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Although Kaylee's doing a great job, just got to say that. Kaylee's doing a tremendous job.
She is a Spitfire.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Spitfire, bombs, never mind. I was trying to connect something there, but so what was the deal? No, okay, so I like what you said. It's about listening. Are we really listening to what's going on? Are we taking the time to find out why people, and after listening, maybe we'll understand, but does it mean that we're in agreement with where they're at? And I think that's where it gets tricky. I think that's when the true us comes out. Are we really other-centered? Are we really more concerned about other people, or is it all about me?
Right.
Myself and I. And that's really the central part of the gospel, is to be other people focused, to be, and it's not natural to be that way. We tend to be a little
standoffish about ourselves or something to that effect.
Well, and maybe a little greedy sometimes. Maybe, is it I don't know. Maybe if we just, I don't know.
But here's the other part of it. Here's the part of what you're saying that I also feel. They actually, after you're done talking with them, still want you to agree with them. They try and make you agree with them, or they make you feel bad for not agreeing with them.
And there's the problem. So we have this conversation here at times. So what I will say to my wife is, or my daughter, or whatever, or somebody, I'll say, so what this is going to come down to is, if I agree with you, then we're good to go. If I don't, you are going to work on me until I agree with you. And there's only one that I will do that with, and that's God. There's only one. Because my wife and I'm like, okay, what's your source on this?
Right.
And there are times when women are right.
Well, it's amazing you say that. A friend of mine literally wanted me to take down a one-sourced podcast because she's in the OBGYN field, and she felt what I was saying about the maternal childbirth, the mortality in childbirth, was a little askew, and that I was only using one source and I didn't research it enough.
Oh, yeah.
You would say I'm bowing down, maybe. I don't know. But I did delete the podcast, and I said, listen, I don't want only one source information on my pod, so I'm going to delete this and rebuild it again. Yeah. Now, did I bow, or did I do the right thing if I only use one source?
I think you were wise. And again, I'm thinking what the Bible says. It's good to have godly counsel, and if it's just one person, someone else might have a different take, and then you get another person. And does it mean that the majority, because God's the majority, does it mean that the majority of people are right? No, not necessarily. So that's where it comes back to, what is your source of truth?
Right.
That's why this is so. I get excited about our conversations, because I keep coming back to truth with a capital T. That's the way it was.
Truth with a capital T. I love it.
Well, that's the way it was taught. And I took a Psych 101 class, and actually I aced it, believe it or not. Took me over a year to finish it because I got deathly ill in between. But that's what the instructor would say. He would talk about truth with a capital T. And that was kind of sort of a reference to truth for everybody for all generations. I mean, okay, it's not okay to murder.
No, it's
I mean,
not.
that's just thou shalt not murder.
It's
I mean,
in
it's
the
just-
Bible. It's right there. It's
Yeah, and don't lie.
Michael, in the Bible, though, after he makes those commandments, were anybody like saying, "Oh, he didn't really mean that," or "He didn't really mean this"? Were there a lot of critics to those commandments, or were they all pretty much?
Oh, I think what happens with commandments is if somebody tells you not to do something, I think our natural propensity is to do this. Whatever, watch this. I'm going to go. You're not going to tell me. Don't tell me I can't run out into that street. Don't tell me not to stick that fork in the. If I want to stick the fork in the outlet, I'll stick. Okay.
Well, and to be honest, this is why we're afraid of. Well, not afraid, but this is why when these mayors use too much force, police force, and that's a problem. Like if they start really, we don't want the mayors to tell us what to do, but also we need them to protect us at the same time. So they're just not finding a way to balance out policing in our cities. They just either go full on or they don't do it at all, and that's a bad thing.
So what I heard you say right there, and if I can quote this on my show this morning,
Sure.
you believe that all police officers are unbalanced.
No, I don't believe all police.
I know.
But I believe that we should find a balance. I believe that we should, because people tendency don't like the cops. They don't like seeing the cops. They're like, oh no, what did I do? That type of thing.
I used to be that way. Now I don't want to. There was the one yesterday that I went for a motorcycle ride, and I thought about, tooling up to his window and asking him, but maybe he was on a stakeout. I don't know. Maybe he was eating donuts. Oh,
But if you do that, here's the other thing about approaching a cop window. They will start getting scared now if you approach the window.
Yes, and I pulled into oh my gosh, this is cool. It was probably 8, 9, 10 years ago. I was over in beautiful Ames, Iowa, and I saw this police car parked in a parking lot of a park that I used to go to all the time. That's what you do with parking. Anyway, and I pulled up alongside him, just, and rolled down the window. I mean, can you imagine what someone might think I could understand him being a little.
And and you're just proving the point that fear is not just of a black person; it's of everybody. That these cops are starting to. It's natural to wonder, whoever it is, what their intentions are rolling down the window.
And all I wanted to do, and I got to do it, was to thank him and how much I appreciate police officers. I mean, I do think it's a very small percentage.
Very small.
And very small, and yet one bad apple don't spoil the whole force, girl.
And then we get thrown in our face, well, if one bad apple isn't bad, then how come one bad protester is all protesters? Well, that's true. Not all bad protesters are bad. But I don't like the whole rationale of that to be used to disband the police. That's what they're using it for. It's like, well, if you think, one bad protester should end the movement, why should we end the police department? And I'm like, that's not what we're saying. We're not saying the movement should stop. We just say the movement needs.
Don't ever stop a movement.
Oh no, you were thinking something else, weren't you? All right, Mike, it's 7:30. Have you taken your meds today, or are we?
Actually, I have a post up that it says I think I need to go back on the meds. So to answer your question, I'm not, and I did have a crown come off 2 days ago.
Is that a good thing, or
a crown? No, a tooth crown.
No, I know. So what happened? You just bit into something?
It was just it had loosened up, and so I gotta get it fixed.
I hate to say it, you made that toothpick joke where you only have one tooth. I hope that doesn't happen to you.
Wow.
Karma, man.
I used to really consider karma. It reminds me of a show we've been watching. Never mind.
Mike,
Wow, my thoughts are just going everywhere because of you.
well, is that a good thing or a bad thing, or am I too stimulating? Or I'm just kidding. Michael, I wanted to share this story for you. I was like 20-something years old, in my 20s.
Oh, way back.
When
a
I
long time ago.
A few years ago, when I first understood the humanity of the police officer. Like, okay, as a kid and as a teen and as a 20s, you see them in uniform, you say thank you and all that, but where do you say thank you? Mainly on the street, mainly near their cars. But when it hit me that, these guys are everyday people too, is when I saw one in TD Bank. Because I saw one just banking and I'm like, oh, all right, they are people. They're not just someone you thank. There are lives. They have people who love them. They have they have other things they do. And I don't know, is that weird that it took me till a TD Bank moment to say thanks to one of the cops banking there that it just hit me?
That's actually a great question. No, I think maybe sometimes I think sometimes we think too long before we, it's like in the heat of, no, not in the heat of the moment, but I think what you did was cool. So you just kind of had this little nudge that you wanted to go talk to this police officer.
Well, I did, but then it just hit me in my brain how much of a human, how they have humanity too. They're not just someone in a uniform protecting us. Because for the longest time, I've always thought cops are invincible. I'll be very honest. I've always thought that they can do no wrong, that they can be amazing for us. That they are just, because that's how I was raised as a kid. I was raised to think these guys were superheroes, right? So, to see them as a human in a bank just changed. Remind me that they're not invincible. They need to be protected too, just as much as our lives on the walking around.
Oh, interesting that you're bringing that up. Also, because I think there's a fairly high incidence of, and I don't even know if I should say this. I do know somebody who was very close to me who was a police officer who had a pretty nasty drinking problem.
Mm.
And what was it? Was it because he was alcoholic by nature, which I think can be the possibility, or was it just all the crap of, I don't know. I don't even know why I brought that up. But I want to share this real quick. Fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such, there is no law. Can you imagine getting pulled over by a police officer and he said, sir, you seem to be a little too joy-filled. You waved at me. Are you sure you didn't finger me? No, I just love the fact that you guys you give me a sense of peace.
Yeah. Yep.
I really appreciate him a lot.
Wait, so did this happen to you?
What?
What you're saying? What was?
No, but it's that when the Bible talks about there's no law against those kind of things, and so if you did get pulled over, I mean, again, that'd be weird, wouldn't it? Mr. Myers, you're too full of love and joy and peace, and patience and kindness and long suffering.
And you're smiling at us too much. What's going on here?
That's funny. Do you remember when they used to put out I haven't seen one for a while, but the police, little police videos, they're actually quite humorous to show the human side of them.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I really miss those. I really do. And, you're just giving me some great ideas for some shows.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad that I can be that facilitator.
Facilitator?
Are you, Oh, you have to check out the YouTube channel for the face he's making right now on the pod. It's just
Hey, how do you take a snapshot of this?
I don't know. You just have to lift up the camera and just go like this,
I can take a picture of. Yeah, but I mean with the background and all. Oh,
well, yeah.
I see. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, that would work. Gee, you're so simple. I didn't mean you're simple. As in,
I am simple. I am simple thinking. I think it has to be.
you said something about vacillator. What did you say?
Facilitator.
Facilitator. A facilitator.
I mean, I'm not that simple, but when I have an idea that feels concrete, that's what I stick with. I don't change it. I don't try and dramatize it. I just stick with that idea. And that is why I think I got a lot of heat on my page, because no one can understand where my concrete thinking can come from, but it just is there. It's like no one can understand why I think Trump ended the riots by saying he'd put in the National Guard, but that was it. That was the concrete ending to that when he said that.
And it was pretty much.
I mean, because after that Monday Night Horror, Cuomo said we're not going to put up with this. They used the full strength of the NYPD, partly because I don't think they wanted the guard in our city or the military in our city, so they just did what they had to, and it stopped. And now we haven't had any of that. Well, I shouldn't say that. Atlanta had some on the weekend with the burning of the Wendy's after that shooting, but that was...
Just as a real quick side note, what's going on in Seattle that Trump is...
hammering home about? I mean, it just seems like the mayor is spinning the way she's talking about this, and Mayor Jenny Durkin, about how, well, the police, it's right, they're peaceful. And then I hear reports that they're not as peaceful in the zone, that there are shenanigans going on in Chaz. The last time we talked about Chaz was Chaz Bono, the
Chaz.
That's
Chaz.
Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle.
See, I tell you what, between you and Ed, you guys go for it, and I'm going to keep talking about Jesus and...
Well, is he talking about Chaz? I guess he is. I haven't heard him in a minute, but I got to hear him tonight, so...
Pray for me.
I always do. Hey, Mike, did you do your video today, or do I have to let you go to do the video today?
The video is up, and I sang at the end of it.
Oh, well, check that out on his regular page. Actually, it's a public page, right? Mike Myers?
Way down inside, woman, you need me.
That was...
Yeah, I'm just a nut. My wife married me for the entertainment. I just don't like it when she reminds me. The times she reminds me, it's like, well, there goes that. I married you because you're funny. Oh, thank you, dear.
There's more to Mike Myers than the humor, right? So,
actually, there is. There really is. I'll talk to you off the grid sometime, but it's all good. It's good.
9 a.m. Eastern, you can hear him, by the way. And I gotta show you this one thing. Keep talking for a second, but I want to show you this one thing. Hold on.
Okay. There once was a man from Oz who couldn't stop because he didn't know how to pause. So then one day, while he was smoking some hay...
Okay.
Okay. You're back.
So I was going through my drawers, the cabinets, the cabinet drawers, and I found this. This is like God telling me I have to do some research.
Uh-oh.
Look what I found in my drawers.
Wait a minute, folks. This is a video.
Key events that shaped the nation. And so I think God's telling me to be more informed before I make a status about something. And that's what I'm going to work on doing.
Well, if you wait till everything is perfected, you'll never get it done, right?
Right. And this is why, actually, I'm glad you said that. This is why I'm now on the charge to do Reconstruction like 3.0 and reconstruct America before the Civil War actually hits us this time. Like,
well, I still think I liked my response to what you had said. I just think we need to be more civil.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we won't have a civil war. Maybe a war that's civil. I don't think that's what the Civil War was it?
No, and there was so much carnage after it. Bodies I always envision it as bodies strewn across our states, death, carnage, blood, horror. and we had to reconstruct. Well, when we see property damaged, when we see lives lost in these riots, and when we see what we've been on the last few years, the course we've been on, we have to do, and this is very interesting that Lincoln statue came up after I talked about this, because who led Reconstruction? It was Abraham Lincoln. Who led the way to heal the nation? It was Abraham Lincoln.
History is important.
And
Right.
so we have to look at that and reconstruct, even if it's even if it's the police departments, but there's also other things we have to reconstruct here that would just give a fair voice. And I am all for that. And I think before more destruction happens, we need to have a conversation on Reconstruction. I'm going to call it 2 or 3.0. Like, let's put it that way. It's time. Because I'm seeing the divide bigger than ever. And we are in the 21st century. We don't have to let it get to bayonets against chests and bayonets and rifles against each other. We can do something before that. We have technology to prevent that. And human power to prevent that. It's the 21st century. We can do Reconstruction right now.
So let me ask you a question. What do you think is at the heart of all of this melee?
Not the peaceful protesters. Let me clarify this. Not the peaceful ones. But the rioters, I don't know how many of them actually love America. I think there's a bigger hate for America nationwide than we're realizing, and we have to quell that. We have to say, no, this country is great.
And I don't know that okay, let me ask you a question. Do you agree, like here in the state of Iowa, according to the Des Moines Register, Trump has a 1-point lead over Biden, according to the Des Moines Register. Where do you get your information? Stop the press and hope. I don't know that I agree with your original statement that there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more people using megaphones, but there's still squeaky wheels.
So wait, what my original statement about the division in the country?
And you talked about there being quite a number of people that are very anti-American.
Well, because there are people cheering the burning of a flag on the street of New York. I see, and I'm just like, no, this is...
But who are those people?
Agitators, rioters, they're not...
Maybe some of them could be professional agitators. Maybe some, somebody posted a thing about Black Lives Matter and what they stand for, and I'm reading that. I'm going, that cannot be true. They cannot be that blatant and have people get behind that. Or if they are that blatant and have people get behind that, that's a movement that. Now,
to your point, you're correct though that not everybody, not the majority love America. Let's put it that way. The majority love America. But how do we bridge the gap to those who don't and just show them a different way? That's what we have to figure out. Sure. By the way, did you hear the lawnmower outside? There was like a cutting of the grass going on during that whole section there in 2 minutes' time.
No, actually, I didn't.
You look like you're deep in thought. Have I put you in a deep thought?
Well, I was going to see if I could find this post. It really bugged me because it was, if that's the mantra, these 10 things that Black Lives Matter is all about, and people are buying into that. I think there's only one way that can be changed, and I'm just going to get all Jesus on you. People need a heart transplant. People have hearts of rock, of stone. They're not loving hearts, and they're shoving hearts. And as I'm saying that, I'm thinking Ed Delgado's going, Myers, you're so fluffy. Jeez, grow a pair. I have a pair. They just got disconnected. Oh, Lord help me. I got to go now.
Mike, no, before you go, I want to answer that. I want to talk about the other thing really quickly for 2 minutes. The polling is probably off because, again, we have numbers that don't want to say they're for Trump. We have numbers that probably don't want to say they are, so the numbers are going to look favorable to Biden right now.
Well, yesterday when we took the doggy to to the vet, I had my Trump hat on, and as soon as I got out of the car, there was a gal standing there, and I hurried up, took the hat off, and threw it inside the car. And she said, "Yeah, you better do." No, I accidentally dropped it on the ground, and she said, "You better hurry up and pick that up before someone stomps it."
Wow.
But she was being humorous. I mean, it is amazing how many people are closet Trumpers because they're just like you said, they're afraid to let people know. That's why these kids tooling around on mopeds with a big Trump flag on the back. It's just, it's precious.
Okay, maybe
I wish he'd be a little more careful. I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, but when you talk about kids, right? I've seen kids go to these protests. I've seen kids go to Trump rallies, and I've often wondered if either one was morally right to bring those kids out to those different environments or let them figure it out when they're older.
Oh, that's a great. You know what? People say that about God stuff too. You need to let your children make their own decisions, and yet God is pretty clear about raising them up.
But there, in church you don't. In church, you don't hear cursing, okay? Well, most of the time anyway. In churches, well, mine is actually pretty good, but in church, you don't hear, and synagogue, you don't hear, you don't hear stuff that kids shouldn't hear, like you do at these protests, like you might at a rally. I mean, Trump supporters at these rallies get so energized, they start cursing like a sailor, and it's like, I don't think but I think the church and synagogue are a good environment for them.
So let me ask you this question, because I tended to ruffle the feathers of some of the church fathers and mothers. I had never heard of bare naked ladies.
Okay.
And there was a young man that was coming to youth group that introduced me to bare naked ladies. And come to find out later that he's also homosexual. So I love the kid. I mean, I would sit and have these conversations with him in my car when he was coming to youth group, and eventually I think the mom got a little upset. But let me digress, because I already did digress. What was my point going to be? So I would be with the kids. I was doing youth group. I was their youth group pastor guy, although I was not a member of the church. Very liberal church, kind of an undercover Christian
church.
Person. Yeah, and a youth guy. And I said, "Hey, you guys want to go check out? I got bare naked ladies in the back of my car. You want to go check them out?"
Oh no!
Just to stir the pot, which is not I shouldn't be doing that.
No.
But they didn't know what I was talking about, but the kids did, and they found humor in it. Now, I don't know that was a good thing for me to be doing.
As a youth group leader,
yeah,
probably not. But you know what? You're Mike. No one can change you, so I'm not surprised you did that.
Well, one thing, there is somebody who can change me, and she'll probably need to, because I'm starting to have incontinence issues, and my wife will probably have to. I married my nurse. But you're making a great point. That's the problem that I got into with Bob Huber, and I'm looking forward to doing a show with him. I thought, well, I can change Bob. I'll throw a 45-minute podcast at him and change him so he can fit a spot on my 24/7 Myers. Forget it.
And you've got me thinking of thoughts I don't even want to know if I should put on the record, but
I don't think you should. And
but let's put it this way. But let's put it this way. Because the youth leaders are now somehow, somewhat becoming gay youth leaders for Christian churches.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would rather them be, I would hope they're more upfront about that instead of just hiding it. And I think if they were upfront about what they felt and who they were, maybe the church would be more accepting. I don't know. I just think they can. Mm-hmm.
So with that, and we are going to run out of time here. But you do realize up until 1972 or 73, the whole gender dysphoria, whatever, was considered a mental illness.
Yes.
Now, am I saying those people are mentally ill? I got to look at myself and go, there's areas of my life where I'm pretty messed up. And that is not I don't know what to say other than folks need to know that they're loved.
Yes. Yep.
I think that is the key to all of this, no matter what. And maybe.
And that's why the SCOTUS ruling was huge yesterday, because I think it gave people in the community a sense that they are loved. Like employees who are that, gay, LGBT, are loved now because of this ruling. So hopefully that carries into real life.
And where that could be an issue is if that it becomes a requirement of the churches that don't believe that is a lifestyle that God approves of. They may be forced, because of the law of the land, to hire. And I can understand why I'd be a little, I'm just telling, I'd be a little leery. I'm just being honest.
Because there are some that, I wouldn't say hijack the movement, but they do, and they just.
And there's the problem. There is the problem, and I think that's true in some. I think that is an issue within. I hate to say it. Well, I'm going to say it. Within religion, there's a lot of churches
within everything. Even these protests now have become
There you
hijacked to rioters and all that. So on my final note, COVID was hijacked. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, what happened to COVID?
The crisis was hijacked to put us inside. That's just what I am feeling.
If I were the COVID virus, I would be ticked.
I would be.
I did say something to somebody the other day, and I shouldn't have said it, and I'm glad they laughed. I said, if I had COVID, I'd give it to you right now.
Stop it! No, Michael.
I was joking.
Be a good Christian. Come on.
There's no way I would give COVID. That's the one reason I could see where. If wearing something over your face, because again, the spittle issue, remember? Mm-hmm. I understand. I get it. I just refuse. If a place says, if you don't wear a mask, you're not going to, then I just won't go in. It's okay. I'm not ticked off at you. I'll just go elsewhere. And so maybe I don't care.
Mike, literally 5 minutes, 9 a.m. Eastern. Get over to your station. I'll talk to you then. I'll listen to you then. And hey, bud, love you, man.
Okay.
Bye.
Do you still love me?
You're my brother, of course.
Okay. Whew, thank God.
Love you, dude. Be well. I'm Alex Garrett. We will talk to you again. Wow, my levels are off the charts here. Must be very pumped up today. Alex Garrett, talk to you soon. We will be back. I'll have Frank Morano on later in the day. Have a good one.